Good afternoon, citizens. Welcome to the E4 Hots and Knots. Not for band Shattersong, RIP, but for Lindir Thornhart. And I'm also, as you can tell by the background, giggling, joined by two of my favourite people, Larkin Shattersong and Farren Shattersong.
Yay.
Yay.
That's us.
It's the
The
OG
two remaining
crew.
Shattersongs.
The remaining Shattersongs.
Yeah, the original gang. And what we're going to do is our usual breakdown. It's a little less structured than last time. There's still the same of we'll go through some general hots and knots, then go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. However, this is
Isn't
more
that a
us.
song?
Yeah, this is more us just having a nice froth and downloading because, unlike with E3, this is being recorded only a few days after the end of the event, as opposed to
You
a
said
few weeks.
downloading. Do you mean debriefing?
Downloading, debriefing, remembering. I've actually in my notes in front of me, right? I've got in italics. I have no idea what I did for Friday evening. It's just there.
We're all very tired. We're not really sure what
Mhm.
happened. It's going to be a bit of a ramble.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, so
I'm here
settle
for
in.
some rambling.
Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
definitely here for some rambling. Alrighty, so let's kick off with section one, which is general hots and knots. Oh, sorry, yeah, that's what was on my mind. It's you know how we would take like the soft kit, the hard kit, the combat RP, and the non-combat RP and score them out of 10. Do you want to do
Yeah.
that this time, or shall we just leave it?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I'm up
We
for
can
that.
do that, but I
Strong
think
yes from Sol.
yeah, that's very
Yes.
strong. Yeah. Also, going a bit day by day is always useful as well.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm not going to remember.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, I think all of us are probably at the stage where we're going to be remembering things as we go.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm remembering the format of the episode halfway into the recording. So, yeah, did a fucking great job.
It's a really good start.
Yeah, nailed it.
What was
Alrighty
it? So
then.
there's overall is the last one, but we start with
Soft kit, hard kit.
no, it's
Combat
kit
RP.
and camping was the first one. It's always
Okey-doke.
kit and camping.
Kit and camping.
Yeah. Well,
Black
first
Star
of all,
Camp
do you want to
was-
explain the shenanigans of Thursday? Because I actually wasn't there for the first Thursday in I think 2 years of events.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. Well, we followed your camp guide to a T.
Thank you.
all of the tents were placed in the right place. I was magical.
They were
shroom,
actually. It was very.
or however you'd color coded us, and yeah, it was nice. The camp felt very, I think, very well structured. This event, I think, it was genuinely like it
It
hasn't
felt
been too
busy
different in the
when I
past,
arrived.
but this one has felt like enclosed and felt homely. I
Yeah.
don't know.
That's the right word. Homely. It felt different this time because our camp's always, it's cool. It's got the awning. It's a big horseshoe of tents and with like a single entrance. But this time it genuinely felt closed off, homely, like a cul-de-sac almost. And I don't
Mhm.
know, just something about it. Maybe it was the open. We had the awning slightly off center and towards the side, so we had an open area as well as a covered area. And
Yeah.
when the weather was, not pissing down on us, it was nice just to stand out in the open. We had loads of space for armoring up, that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
something about
Yeah.
the camp really worked this event.
I could go
Knowledge-
into the very nerdy details about why I put everyone everywhere, but I think one of the main things was we actually had, I think, all of the tents that we normally bring. So when I arrived, it felt like everyone was there. It felt busy.
A lot
Yeah.
of shared tents as well. A few more people sleep in IC that we haven't seen in the camp for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, not too cluttered, just nice. So spot on. Let's keep that camp.
Yeah. Can we just copy paste it for next time, please?
Will do. You know it. I'll get right on that.
On my clipboard as we speak.
It's quite literally. I've actually made a note of that.
One note from me. I won't name names here, but you two know exactly what I'm going to talk about. But I just want to say it. I almost didn't come LARPing because I was in bed on the Thursday afternoon for a little while longer because I finally worked up the courage to tell someone how I feel. And
It's so sweet.
it was very nice. I just wanted to mention that. So I arrived a little bit late on the Thursday, but by the time I'd arrived, it almost felt like a half a camp had been set up already. And
Mm-hmm.
whoever, I think someone's brought a lawnmower this time round because the forest was in fantastic shape.
I
It was
think
already
someone
like
did do
that when we
some
got here.
clearing. They did
Yeah.
some clearing, I believe, that in the week and before we arrived. There was some extra.
That'll explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shout out to whoever did that. I don't know if it was Kit or if it was organised by Kit or if there's someone else involved. I think there were other names mentioned maybe on the Facebook, the Navarre Facebook. Shout out to them, whoever did it, because yeah, it's always super appreciated. We're in one of the sort of back corners where it gets really overgrown and yucky, and we're kind of dealing with a lot of brambles and things, but it's been good. We've managed to fit everyone in and exist in our little corner that for all of the events, even though we were, I think last time or the time before we were stomping down ferns, but someone came along with a lawnmower that time as well. It was great. It's been helpful, and it's probably going to be needed because my gosh, there's more and more and more people camping I see in Navarre, and it is going to get really squishy soon.
It is, yes.
I don't think we could go much smaller for us.
Yeah,
No,
it's
the
tight.
thing with us is because of how we arranged, it feels spacious, but that's because we're all around the edges.
Yeah.
The only way you could use that to fit more tents in is you're just starting to put tents on top of each other, and there's no actual central space. Which, considering how the ground is, because we've got those massive dips and things, it's not really practical. Anyway, that's a big in-depth look at camp planning from the perspective of Black Sky.
But yeah,
and District
we
7,
got
I
it
think
up
we are.
pretty swiftly. I think everyone came a little later than normal, but it didn't matter. It went pretty slowly, and yeah, Black Sky kind of partied into the night.
Yeah, there are some videos on my Facebook page, the Lindir Thornheart one, of exactly what I got up to at one point.
Being told you don't have to drive anymore. So.
Yeah. Yeah, the Slav Bass for the evening was on point. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So yeah, Thursday was cool, and of course we had a new player with us joining Black. I think we had 3 in total. We had 2 of Sparkles as ones and 1 of mine, right?
Yeah.
Yep, so taking them around on Thursday, doing a little walk, it was quite cool. And then I think in the evening we just disappeared off for, the usual kind of generic meet and greet of all the players you haven't seen since the last event, and going down to the forge, getting player packs, looking at the traders, that kind of thing.
I got drunk with the Ashbourne.
Nice.
Caught up with the
yes, I heard you and Finn talking late. Yes, now I remember vividly, because I was in the tent about 10 meters from you, staying up late, and I heard every word. You were very nice to me.
Yeah.
That's the sort of overhearing that you want to do.
Yeah, it was good.
Good fun. It was a good fun conversation, and it's just nice to catch up with them.
Yeah, because once the event starts, it's really hard to it's hard to catch all the people that you want to catch.
Never see
them. So, yeah.
Never saw either of you either, so...
No. It's also good to do that with the new people because, as we've spoken about, I mean, I've had feedback from one of our newbies this time that was basically, Thursday was super social and beginning of Friday was too, and then time in happened and I saw nobody. I was like, yeah, it kind of happens like that. Not nobody. They did, managed to go around with other people and do things, but the contrast in the socializing of Thursday versus once it hits time in, it does really reinforce that this is not for maybe for some people, but certainly not for everybody. It's not just an excuse to sit down and socialize with your friends. Like, we're paid to be here to play the game.
Yeah, it used to be like that, especially for like Tadpole, Jockle and I, early days when we didn't have any hats, we didn't really have anything to do. It was just to sit down, have a few tins of beer in the afternoon, and try and get some skirmishes.
Occasionally do a battle.
Yeah, but that's equally as fun as the chaos that is now.
To like witness the whole of Anvil is magical, right?
Yeah,
it's just a lovely place to be, even if you're not doing anything. But I did find it quite interesting how busy I think a lot of us were. But we'll get to that.
Yeah, and the fog.
Once you've been playing the game for a while, like, you do start to just build up stuff to do, kind of not even necessarily like hard goals, but just stuff to do.
I think
get you out of camp and moving around.
interestingly, I think that with this event, we had some really interesting wins, but there wasn't necessarily a lot going on for a lot of
Especially
like
not for
the
Navarre.
general anvil goer
Yeah.
Well,
in Navarre.
I mean, there was also the library stuff, but I'll cover that a little later. So
Cool.
it depended how engaged you were with the opportunities that were out there.
Sure, but I'm more thinking of like the newbies coming along. There was not really any Navarre skirmishes. There wasn't any there just wasn't a lot going on.
Yeah.
And I think that'll come into things.
Yeah, I'd agree. Like with being a new LARPer, you had the first few events of like, what is going on? And then after that, you're like, I found a thing. I will go engage with it. And then,
I think we all remember that one first event as well.
yeah, you
That was my first event.
Do you remember you? I mean, you remember your first event, Sol. Do you remember yours, Chris?
Yeah, so mine was, God, years and years ago, but I turned up. I had a blue tunic and black trousers trying to play in Navarre with no face paint. So,
Oof.
good start. But I borrowed
Was your name Wolfric?
it might as well have been. Everyone thought I was Dornish, and I was like, all right. But it was with old school Yabazden when they were actually on the field. And when it really clicked for me was the main battle. We went through on Saturday, and I got myself, the scale armor that Chris Melvin has. I was wearing that with a longsword I'd been loaned. And I mean, when I turned up to LARP, it was entirely to support my brother. It wasn't actually something I had ever thought about doing or even realized existed. And they brought me along. They brought me into the Black Scar fold, and then it was when that battle hit me. That's when it clicked. I was like, "Oh my god, this is awesome! Holy shit!" Because I was expecting the combat to be cringe, like, because I was doing loads of HEMA fencing at uni at this point, and I was, I like my historical fencing, and I
think it's a fair assumption from the outside that it's impossible to explain until you're in those major conjunctions, in those battles, how it's going to feel, because it's the feel more than anything. Like, you objectively, you're still running around sort of tapping people with a foam weapon, but it's the feeling, it's the sound, it's the intensity of not wanting to die, I guess.
499 other people doing the same thing. Like,
I think we're hitting more than that at this stage. Did you hear? I mean, we're over 4,000 people on the field. Event.
That's nuts. Absolutely nuts.
It's insane. 3,500 pre-sale tickets, and we know there's always more after that point.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, when I started, it was like 1,200 people. Was like, oh wow, that's big. And then we got to the 2K point, and we were losing. When the Hat Films did was it 3 Nerds Go LARPing? They did that series of them. We went boom. We basically added an extra 1,000 players on thanks to them.
Although it did chill down again, I think, after one point. But the big boost has been since COVID, of course.
Yeah,
because it was increasing, but it wasn't increasing massively fast before COVID. And then since COVID, I think every event has gone up by several hundred.
Exactly. We got to the 2,600 point pre-COVID, and that it kind of stabilized. But it seems over the long dark, instead of people getting tired of LARPing and moving on, they've had time to froth, get kit sorted, get their mates involved, and then this year we had
everyone wants a bit of escapism.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a decent first event. It's fine. Just getting back into things in terms of numbers. Then E2 trundled on a little bit. I remember E2 being another big jump. Actually, E3 was roughly the same as E2, but then this event.
I remember people were saying, because E2 was really big, and everyone was like, well, normally E3 is the biggest because summer holidays. So if this is this big, how big is E3 going to be? E3 was indeed big. I don't think it was as much bigger than E2 than we expected it to be, but this one has been
this was the delayed reaction.
All of the numbers out the park. Yeah.
I mean, when you consider that, in the space of me LARPing for like 6 years now-ish, or maybe 7 or 8, honestly, it all blends together. For it to have 4x'd in players is a crazy amount of growth for PD. And like we're commenting all the time, the forest is full. The Dornish,
the forest is full, Navarre is spilling out now.
Yeah, like Dawn and Wintermark, that field used to be overflow parking. They just didn't use it. All the nations used to fit on that central field.
Well, I remember even the end of, I'd say, E4 2019, before we went in the longest dark, I remember walking down towards the Winter Market, down the what is sort of colloquially known as Murder Alley, or the
Friendship Avenue.
Winter Market Navarre Park, yeah, whatever you want to call it. That back road, you would get down towards it, and you could see past Wintermark tents into the OC area. At this stage, you can't.
Yeah.
You genuinely can't. It's so full of tents, which is really nice because you want to be looking around and see a sea of tents. You really, really do. I mean, obviously, there are rumors. There's a fairly strong rumor that PD are hoping to look for a permanent site.
Much. Yeah.
Yeah, basically. So whenever that happens, I hope it doesn't feel really, really empty again. I mean, I doubt it would do. And it will be amazing to have the space to grow anyway. And of course, they'll have the luxury of more permanent structures, which will fill in gaps and things. But yeah, it's going to feel like, if they manage to get a big enough site, it'll probably suddenly feel like, oh, it's all a bit spacious again. What happened?
Yeah.
But, at least you'll be able to walk through some of the nations without having to end up in dead ends, which has happened to me so many times. This event ended up in a dead end, and I was like,
actually blocked. You're like, wow, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think nations like
Barushka
really need the space.
Busy. Yeah.
They are literally meter by meter blocked into their area now.
Yeah. I mean, we are literally spilled out way out onto the side. And of course, Wintermark have come a little bit into our forest at the edge.
Bastards.
Naturally, Brass Coast had to go over the fence as well. They had to go into the Dawn. It's amazing. I mean, they've done a reshuffle.
They had to block the side entrance to Military Council.
Yeah. Oh, there was some interesting things with where the tent was this time. That was unexpected. I think that other tent was not supposed to be there on the plans, but we'll see. They're always rejigging things, seeing what happens. And I mean, it's always improving, right? So every time I'm sure they get feedback on this thing worked, this didn't work, these amount of people coming, these amount are not coming, etc., etc. We're clearing space. I mean, do you remember when they cleared all the trees in Navarre, and we were like, oh, it feels so open and empty, and no, why would they do that? And now we're like, oh my god, thank goodness they did that. Where would we put the tents?
Yeah.
Like, it's insane.
Like, what they've done to our beautiful forest, it's fucked. And then
all of Navarre inside it. Yeah. So yeah, everything changes, but onwards and upwards, right?
Indeed, and that was just Thursday, listeners. That was just...
And I wasn't even there on Thursday. That was strange. I will say, obviously it was for OC reasons that I didn't end up coming on Thursday, but I was a bit like, it's the first time I've missed it. And what I really always appreciate about Thursday is the room to get yourself ready that you then have on a Thursday and a Friday.
Yeah.
You're not racing time in because, you can go to God and get your player pack and all that. I did still have time on the Friday, but it just wasn't quite as relaxing as it could have been, let's say. Which is always very, very nice. And just getting to see people. It's always lovely to check in with people. Like, we've been playing the game for, several years now, at least. Some of us more years than others.
Yeah, I see less and less of you.
Made a lot of friends now. It's true. Well, you also have moved somewhat away with your new character. I mean, as have I, when it comes to what we actually do over a weekend. But in a way, it's kind of nice. It's not nice that we don't see each other. No, that's not what I mean. You know it. It's more like, it's nice that we've got to a stage where we're all just doing our game to such a point that we're having a great time, and then we can come back and be like, hey, how's that thing going? Like, it's not like you feel stressed about, I need to see my friends, or I need to see these people, otherwise, like, we're gonna forget each other or whatever. It's more like, now you touch base and it's like, oh, hi, how are you doing? I haven't seen you. Like, how's it going? What are these things we're doing?
I also think it's slightly different as, especially over lockdown and stuff. I've spoken to both of you probably like daily, right? It's slightly different now.
Yeah, actually, Sol, I've been meaning to talk to you. It's getting a bit much.
Okay. Okay.
I appreciate the dick pics, but they keep
that's the end of my episode. I'll see you next time.
Franklin fucking off.
No, but yeah, it's true. It's nice. It's also because it's not for reasons of like we're growing away from each other or, you know, our characters are growing away from each other. It's that we're developing into stuff that we really want to do, and our
I'm
game is
glad
building.
that's what you believe.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You should have seen
I
Matty's
cry.
face. You should have seen Matty's face. This is skipping way ahead to Sunday afternoon, but she thought I was dead because the way I stood up and saluted her. And you were
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Oh my god, who are you?" And I was like, no, "It's me."
Yeah, you're like, it's Lindir Thornhart. And I was like, oh, thank goodness for that. Jesus. I was terrified for a minute.
Yeah, I saw the panic in your eyes, and you know what? Seeing people panic and genuinely upset over your character, you know you've gone LARP good.
Yeah.
You've done the thing well.
Yeah. No, it is nice. And I will skip slightly ahead as well. Not that far, but obviously I probably maybe to a similar extent as you, Chris, but certainly more than most in Black Scar have, for various good reasons, pushed away to do, particularly when it comes to battles, because I'm doing more field command now, more and more field command, which is a shame, and I do miss it. And the news of you guys doing the Merc banner, which we'll mention at some point, it's like, it's amazing and I'm so excited, but there is like, I'm so torn. I'm so in 50-50 because I am so excited by the things that I'm getting a chance to do. Like, I never in a million years thought I would be able to do what I'm doing on an OC or an IC level. But also I'm like, you know, it's sad not to be part of everything. So I still try and see where I can. It does mean that when I see you guys and I get to hang out with you guys, it means that much more. I'm like, yes.
I think you'll get the opportunity as you settle into everything else more as well.
Yeah.
Because everything's still so new.
It is, yeah. And it's hard to say no to opportunities when, like you said, that they're new and shiny and, you know, you want to do them. Maybe once it's been a while, then it'll be time to step aside and I could rejoin the fold, but we'll see.
Exactly. So, should we start the chaos?
Yeah.
That was actually time in.
Yeah.
So,
well, we started before time in, didn't we?
Well, we started before time in, but I think the first thing that happened, which really kind of defined this event, was the heavens opened and drenched the entirety of Anvil.
Yeah.
For a good 20 minutes.
The Friday. I was in guard at that point, waiting for a letter. It was intense.
It was really intense. Genuinely.
Good thunder, though.
Genuine downpour. Thor was mad. Wintermark had done something wrong. And I mean, I know they're not the same as Norse mythology, but something had gone horribly wrong with the weather god, and they were mad at us.
Yeah.
The whole ground
was making jokes about the thunderous deluge that we cast last season.
I think so. It must have been.
It's a real display of like the LARP weather versus normal weather. Elsewhere in the country, we got a bit of rain. At LARP, active thunderstorm.
Yep.
Hurricane, typhoon,
it
perhaps.
Was, you know, I think it was so forceful that it had splattered mud halfway up my tent.
Yep, same. Yep.
And that was technically in the tree section as well.
Yeah, with some cover.
It's just mad. I mean, it was pretty intense rain. But after that point,
cool for the rest of the
actually. It was actually really good weather.
Yeah.
Things told you.
Warm enough at night as well. Like E1 was cold at night, but this time round, fine. A couple blankets on me.
Yeah. Yeah. So we started at, let's say, roughly 4:35.
Yeah.
I think I started putting face paint on people at 4:30.
A little Black Scar War Council, as it's now been decided.
Oh yeah. I wasn't involved. So tell me more if you can.
Well, not really. It was a fairly brief one. Just chat about where things are going. I think we were saying that we're probably going for the Merc banner. Is there anything else that people are up to that need to be let known? Normal dodgy Black Scar stuff. If someone comes to the Black Scar camp, we don't say, if they're asking, is this Black Scar? We don't say yes. We go, why?
Yeah, the answer is always why first. Yeah,
because we have a lot of problems. Probably our own
fault. There are
fault.
people that don't like us. I just don't know why.
We're just too good at the game.
And then we did some training, which started off with a Lindir Farren punch up.
Fight. That was fucking awesome. That was great.
Completely off the cuff.
Oh my gosh, did I miss that?
You
We're-
must have done. But I was just like, I'd put my weapons away, and Lindir was just like, you got your weapons, so I just pull up both fists, and he's like, right, then throws the things down, uppercuts me, and I'm like, all right, here we go then.
For the purposes of anyone listening, grappling is not officially allowed in terms of the rules, but when it's between friends and you've
It
agreed
was
to do it,
entirely friends, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
very, very different.
We didn't agree. He just did it, and well,
This
Farren
was
fought back.
yeah, you got some good blows in, like sort of punched me in the gut and stuff. We did the whole, you wrap your fingers together into a single big fist and crack over each other's back, and
So how did you actually do it? Because I've never actually seen, like, obviously Fate Larp fighting like that, and I can picture it, but how do you know that you've been hit? Like, do you just kind of accept it?
yeah,
Trust,
trust.
and it's very big, like movements of clear. I'm about to knee you in the face
Yeah.
and things like that.
Mm. And then you just kind of go with whatever you. It's a
Yeah.
yes and kind of fight. I'm guessing.
Yes.
Yeah, because like you are allowed to grapple, but not on the battlefield, but not when drunk, and ideally have a ref next to you. If I'm remembering the wiki correctly, but I mean, we had multiple battle refs in our group, so it's fine, right? They're just not wearing the tabard. But
I would not have done this with anyone else but Chris, or
Yeah.
yeah,
Black Scar. So.
yeah, you basically give each other a blow and react to it. So it's always the classic, right hook to the face, and you react like and you stop probably about 10 inches short of each other. But because you're using body blocking and circling each other, it's actually quite it can look quite good.
It looks good.
And then it's
Nice.
like really.
I can't believe I missed that. It must have been
It was
right
when you
there
picked up
as well.
your shield and then hit me in the face with it. Tumbled off
So
the
who
road.
won? Who won?
Nobody.
I think it was Lindir in the end.
I mean, the crowd won. The crowd were the real winners.
The crowd really won.
True.
Yeah,
that.
it's basically
And
like
that's
RuneScape combat.
the motto of LARP, is it not?
Yeah, everyone else, we're all
Everyone
winners.
watching is the winner.
Yeah, you basically just take turns doing a heavily telegraphed blow against each other, and once you're sweaty and tired, one of you gives up. I think the orcs do it at their fighting pit where they rock paper scissors, and then they so whoever wins that is the winner, and then they just play it out.
Right, I've always wondered how they do this, because I mean, you see the pictures, and some of them are like fully in the air, jumping, doing amazing things, and I always wondered if they had to like actually choreograph it first.
I think
But
they do for their pit fights. Yeah.
There are some of them, I believe, that do properly choreograph, but I'm sure there are some that there are definitely people that just walk into the fights and things. So yeah, I guess it's a case of you got to trust yourself and trust each other again, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of you just got to trust. If you can't trust people, they probably you might need to find somewhere else to be.
Find some new LARP friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, after getting a little muddy because the ground was very wet.
Oh, it was. Yeah.
Did a bit of classic Black Scar training, a couple of war games and things.
Those war games are great. Shout out to our war game leader, who is I believe a fencing instructor IRL. Blythe.
I mean, OC. Yeah.
Yeah, he does some very good fun games for us at the beginning, which are really brilliant. I won tag at E3, and I'm remembering that for the rest of my life because I've never won a sports game ever, so that was great. Which is partially why I didn't partake in this one. I didn't want to lose my title. No, I'm kidding. I was doing other things, unfortunately. But there you go. Good fun. And that took us right up to time in.
Pretty much, yeah. We where I think a load of us were getting geared up for a possible 6:30 skirmish.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which it's classic Anvil. You know how this one ends up.
I mean, it used to be okay / not great at the start of the year. Now it is downright bad. If you are trying to get on the skirmish, you can be the skirmish leader, and I think your odds of actually getting on the skirmish are 50-50.
Yeah.
If people say, "Oh, we're looking for people for blah blah skirmish," turn up. We need the numbers. Ignore them. It's bullshit.
I think it is something to say that this is the first event I think I have not done a single skirmish.
Yeah.
So from the military side of things, a a couple of things. First of all, this is the sort of thing that it is really good to feed back to PD, because there were a couple of changes in skirmish organizing over the year, and particularly for this event. This was the first event where we didn't have any small skirmishes. All skirmishes, I believe, were 50-person or above.
Interesting. Okay.
Obviously, yeah. So there were no small ones, which I do think impacted not just the amount of people going through the gate, but also success rate. But that's a separate thing. But yeah, obviously, they've changed the way that skirmishes are run, and that they are naming a specific person to be a focal point, which doesn't mean, as they've specified, it does not mean that that person has to run that thing. It just means that they've given an organizational name for
Delegated.
everyone
They
to
got
go
the authority
Yeah,
to say, right,
you can that.
I'm not leading it, but
Exactly.
Captain
So
Pieface is.
exactly, and I believe that was partially in response to maybe people looking at the skirmishes and going, well, I'm in charge of this one, and someone else across the field saying the same thing for the same skirmish. But I will say that there was a lot of really good organization on these things before PD changed the system. So we'll see how it happens going on. I know in the Miniature Council tent, there have been discussions about it. There will be ongoing discussions about it. It's not our remit at all, but it's something that a lot of us are command in some way and can probably help within our nations to structure things. For Navarre, it is a hot topic. So hot, it's basically fresh out of the kettle.
It's in my
It's
eyes. The steam is making my eyebrows steam up.
it's the hot topic that is something to be discussed. And it's something I've been trying to sort of slowly work on, but haven't had much time to do this year. But certainly, we're really, really aiming for E1 to be a big step up in how we get that done, and
I will say,
hopefully get more people involved.
it didn't really affect my event. It's just something to note.
That's
You know,
good.
I
Yeah.
was busy otherwise, but yeah,
It's good.
it
But
was.
there are a lot of people that do, for whatever reason, they want to come to Anvil and they want to battle,
Yeah.
which
Scrap.
is fair enough. It's a
Orcs,
very
orcs,
combat
orcs.
heavy system. But yeah, so it is one of those things that is, it kind of sucked in a lot of ways for players and also characters, but also, there are
There's 4,000 people now.
and players actively trying to make it a better system and work along the lines of what PD have put out to help everybody have a good time.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed.
Yeah, they got. I think they
And
had
if you
80.
have if you have actual genuine feedback, this is something that I believe has come up on Facebook a few times recently. People posting about it is genuinely this sort of thing that if you want to send an email to admin at profouндecisions.co.uk, then that's it. This sort of feedback builds up and it does eventually make changes. So
Definitely.
just sending angry emails like, nah, I didn't get on a skirmish because lots of people wanted to go, probably won't get you very far. But if you have actual things like, oh, well, this thing happened and for these reasons, and it actually was a bit ridiculous, it's happened multiple times, or this and this and this, then that's more legit, and they'll probably appreciate hearing it from someone who's not just ranting, basically.
Yeah,
but I know you had some feedback about that, Chris.
There is, yeah. I think there's two things that are problematic at the moment. No, I think it's only one thing, but the thing I'm going to talk about is separate. That was like a total game breakage, but we'll get to that later. But people pushing onto skirmishes. We're British broadly. We like queuing, and when you see people pushing into queues, it fucks everybody off majorly, and also encourages further queue jumping. And we're going to see a lot of that as we've got 4,000 players now instead of the 2,000 the system was designed to handle. There was only 80 combat crew, skirmish team crew, who crew all of those skirmishes that we go on. So bear in mind, we send 60 people through the gate. You can't have all 80 of those crew on every single skirmish because they are knackered after one or two.
Yeah, it's a lot to do.
You can have 40 at most, and that's only having a 20-minute break between each one for them, let alone set up, kit up, and all that. Just having fucking breaks, right? So I think, maybe I'll think about it and send it into PD, but I think there needs to be a system where some people, we don't just monster on the main battles, but also some combat heavy people. If you go on skirmishes, you need to crew skirmishes as well to help them
There
out a bit.
used to be, there did, I believe, used to be an option where you could volunteer for skirmishes, and they took it away for reasons I cannot remember that I'm sure were very
Oh,
legitimate. But I
really?
have definitely heard, yeah.
Yeah,
If you talk to older
What?
players, you did used to be able to volunteer for
Yeah, I
skirmishes.
did. I used to. I mean, I got busy
Yeah,
and stopped doing it, but so yeah, I can't
yeah.
just walk up to Monster and volunteer anymore.
Well, it stopped for a reason. I don't know if they still have it open or if they may reopen it. That's why we've
Oh
spoken
God.
to someone about you'd have to go and check. That would be the sort of thing you have to find out about. I think there was a reason that they stopped it, and I cannot remember what that was. Obviously, it was several years ago, so circumstances are very different now.
Gosh,
But certainly, it would seem to make sense, right? There's so many people, and a lot of them really like monstering. Like, why would
monstering
you?
is fun. Like it's
Yeah, like the time is it's going out and having a battle that's more fun. You don't necessarily have to do it in character. People just want to swing some fake weapons around.
yeah, and
Why
the
not? Why not use the people you've got?
yeah, exactly. And when I was new, there was always big pushes for, hey, come Monster, hey, come crew, or pay your and Freddos, that kind of shit. And that kind of messaging's actually really tailed off the last few
yeah,
years. And I'm talking to I think because the game's larger, it's harder to spread that information. But talking to some other newer players in the nation, they're not even aware you could volunteer for Monster. Some of them aren't even aware that you could respawn in main battles as a monster, that kind of
I
thing.
will say, yes, I don't want to go into too much depth because I am a battle ref now and I therefore have a slightly different voice and I don't want to speak on behalf of PD when I shouldn't, but there was some interesting behavior from monsters that I think probably does come from a result from briefings not being as basic as they could, because everyone kind of just assumes a lot of these things are widely known.
Mm,
But if that's the case, I mean, hopefully there are a lot of people that come in solo, but there's also a lot of people that get brought in by friends. So the best thing you could do is also just make sure that you brief your friends on what to do
yeah, I
hmm
think we've had
if
such a
you are listening.
large we've had
But
such a
yeah,
large influx of new players. Of course, there's going to be some gaps, and then
yeah,
they've had this year
there's a
to
few
train up.
things that it would be really good to have some more visibility of real basics, like don't take your mask off when you're still within a battle zone, even if you're dead, that kind of thing.
Ah, yeah,
Um, there was quite a lot, make sure you put your hand in the air when you're dead and not just lift a weapon up. It's little things which to us are really obvious, but they might not be if someone's just said put hand in the air when you die,
yeah,
and you're dead, just move away. It's not there's a couple of basics, but these things that we know how to tell people come from seeing it done wrong, right? So
yeah, yeah.
hopefully next time at E1 we won't have the issue, but we'll probably have new ones because that's always the case.
yeah. It's a doozy of a pickle, and I mean, like you said earlier, Massey, if you've got ideas, with some constructive steps to them, send them in because you might have thought of something other people haven't, or trigger an idea that grows from yours. But yeah, I think we'll see what happens over the longest dark. Sorry, not long. No, 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 not another one. The long dark,
Just a
and
long dark, please. I
yeah,
don't want a longest one.
we'll see what PD do because fundamentally Empire is a PvP political LARP. It happens to have
Yeah,
combat. Um, I
yeah, which
think
is maybe something they'll emphasize. You never know.
yeah, and going as a scrappy character, like I just want to go brawl, that's not really viable anymore because you basically just get the Saturday battle, and the odds of getting on the skirmish quite low. Of course, though,
Yeah,
if you want to include scrapping as a monster, then you've got loads of opportunity. But scrapping
yeah.
as, say, I'm a Dornish knight and I want to go around with a flail beating the shit out of orcs, I can only do that for an hour a weekend, and as a result, your character time is going to be a bit meh.
It's managing expectations as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like if you're for so many years it's been very, very combat heavy. So when people bring their friends in, it's like, yeah, do you want to go and fight some stuff? And you go,
Yeah.
yeah, that's great. But now that it is changing emphasis, but just because of numbers and weight on the field, and like you said, it is really leaning more into the I mean, it always was political PvP, but certainly the combat is lessening just because of purely practical reasons. So there's
yeah,
more of the other stuff, like a pure combat build character is hard to sustain if you want to have an RP heavy weekend. You can't just be RPing on battles.
yeah.
It's going to be, you need to find other things to do. Which isn't to say that there's other things that there's not other things to do. There's a lot of military game out there that doesn't involve actually just going out and hitting things.
Yeah,
So
messaging
yeah,
and wrangling military units, but damn, we should have
yeah,
got
lots and
Sparkles
lots
on
of
for that.
options.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you should talk to him about that. It's been fascinating to listen to. Genuinely, grab
Yeah.
him for a future one, eh?
Yeah. So that takes us
So
to
we're
6:30.
I was going to say, we're still like 30 minutes into the entire event at this point.
And we've managed to go through all of the military battle combat logistics of the game.
I spent most of the
That's
rest
interesting
of
stuff.
that evening in kit just because I didn't take it off.
Yep, same.
In combat kit, you mean?
Yeah,
Combat kit,
chainmail.
exactly.
I don't know how you did it,
I was
Sol.
in kit.
In full steel,
Yeah,
that is nuts.
That's brave.
And then, yeah, I did something for the first time, which was I actually spent most of the weekend entirely in military council, which I have not
Yeah,
done
you
before.
did. Yeah,
Oh.
it was really nice to see you in there.
It was cool. Like I've been there before, and I've been there for meetings, but I haven't been to every single one and see how it like progresses.
All right,
through the
from
event.
an outside perspective, so for anyone who doesn't know, hi, I'm Matty. I play Larkin and Shattersong. I am currently the general of Izella's Dance, so I am titled general. But obviously, I spent a lot of time in military council before becoming a general. But I can't really remember like what. I mean, I know what my perspective of it was like, but what have you found from coming in from the outside?
Well, I was playing bingo on Friday night, so that was good.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. There is one character writes a bingo card for military council. It's great.
It was good, but it, to be fair, got me into the mood of it. And then, yeah, I know it was really interesting. It's kind of what I thought it would be. And even if it's an absolute mess of humans trying to communicate to vote for things, which is what I anticipated it being, it was still quite fun. And I felt like with the at least level of game that I've got to, I understood most of it. Like it wasn't hard to understand what was going on. And it was just interesting to see kind of the different characters and how they interact and their kind of take on things. And yeah, just get something that isn't just Navarre, let's go kill the Valorn kind of take on things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that was something we did briefly mention because I spoke to you a little bit about it. That I've heard it said that knowing the personalities and the people and therefore kind of why people are arguing for certain things makes a lot of difference to the enjoyment of just watching the military council.
Entirely.
So yeah, I'm very interested in getting more people in. Obviously, fascinated to see how people can get in. There's obviously the adjutant route, but there are many other ways to do things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really good to see you in there. Thanks for
Pied
fetching stuff for me. Yeah, you delivered my sausage roll from the marches on Friday night.
Yeah.
Very appreciated.
Army marches on its stomach.
It does.
Exactly. Honestly, that was basically me for Friday. Military council, take some kit off, and kind of go chill. Go meet up with some friends in the marches, and go meet up with some friends in Navarre, and just kind of relax into the evening until we met back at Black Scar for midnight. So what did you two get? Well, what did Lindir get out to? I suppose.
Yeah. Have you remembered what you did on Friday yet? You couldn't remember
I
earlier.
genuinely spent a lot of time pie hunting, right? So, for a little bit more context, there is a delightful pie maker player character in the marches who took some pre-orders on Facebook before the event. Matthew and I ordered some stuff, and it took me a good while to find them. But that quest, the quest for pies, the quest for food, is a mighty calling indeed. And it took me around some decent chunks of anvil, and I also got some particularly nice booze in the process as well. But the actual, like, similar to Soul, like I don't really know. I didn't like get up too much on the Friday night apart from looking for some pies. Just ran into a few people, caught up, and I'm sure I did do something important, but I just can't remember. But yeah,
That's always the way. Yeah.
yeah, because
It's so hard to remember things like that after the fact.
Yeah,
Like
I
you
think I
can
went to a
you can
few.
miss entire swathes of your weekend afterwards, and then just suddenly be like, "Oh my gosh, I spent 4 hours in this camp, and I just completely forgot about it."
Yeah, I went to a few of the Navarre meetings because we got to the gate, got bounced off. I was like, oh shit, all right then. Go back, see some like Thorns Council shit.
Oh yeah, so we had standing. Obviously 6:30.
Skipped it.
Navarre has standing, which you guys didn't get to. But then we had Thorns Council, where we had the election for Quiet Step, where Brennos got re-elected, which was, I will say, on an OC note, a bit of a relief, because it's nice to have someone in the tent who is very, very experienced. The other two generals are first generals.
Fresh generals, yeah.
Yeah, we're very, very fresh. Like, don't get me wrong, I feel very, very much more confident this time than I did before, and I think I don't need a safety blanket, so to speak, but it is still nice to know that someone has not just an eye on like what happens, but there's someone there to ask, like, if you suggest something, they'll go, well, no, actually, because this thing happened 3 years ago, which means this or whatever. Yeah, exactly. It's just nice to have that kind of grounding, and I think it's also nice for the other people in the tent, because like any part of the game, miniature council, a lot of it is trust and knowing each other. So yeah, very good. We also re-elected Voice of Thorns, who leads our Thorns Council. I'm really excited to see what happens there. It's going to be a full year tenure. So instead of just the sort of default one event that we had one Voice of Thorns for one event, and then we had another one for one event. So I'm intrigued to see what happens with that. I might meddle a little tiny bit because I'm a meddler. But no, really, really good stuff. And then I think I just ran straight off to military council at that point.
Yep.
For the muster, where I'm so
God, big news.
So I was not the person that suggested Wintermark and Navarre. That was in fact on the table from the beginning. And pretty much everyone was delighted by that concept. However, I did some maths in my head, because it was Wintermark, Navarre, and I believe two others, Imperial Orcs and Highguard or Brass Coast. Now, the way that we organize who goes on these things is by making numbers match up. So you try and have every nation is assigned a number that is their force weighting, and you do the maths, which also involves, for RP reasons, like some nations may want one fight more than another, or may suit one fight more than another. But it comes down to the maths of it. Now, I did the maths of, those two nations that have been put in with Wintermark and Navarre, they equal exactly the same number as the force weighting of the marchers. So I got to put my hand up and go, could we not just swap those two for the marches? And thanks to the Imperial War Mage, who jumped right on board with that suggestion, and it got pushed through. And ta-da! I have never been so delighted in my life. We actually did make it through, got voted for. Still can't believe it.
I mean, after like 3 votes and a vote for whether we're going to vote for the next vote.
Yeah, there were a lot of votes, because there was sort of a lot of changes. And it was a split vote, and then someone, can't remember who it was, someone changed their mind and joined onto ours. So it only just got through, but it did get through, which was incredible. Could have been Osric. In which case, if it was Osric, then shout out, thank you. I'm never been happier. It was really, really cool. It was nice. I was sitting there. There was one of the marcher adjutants was sitting in. Tilly, shout out to you. You're fantastic. And I was like sort of suggesting it, and then she leaned over with a notes on her notebook and went, I think we can really do it. We got this and this and this. I think it will work. And I was like, oh yes, okay. There's support now. Now we're going to really suggest this. And brilliant. Delighted. So sorry about the other force weighting, which I think it's still good. It was still very, very good. It was still very doable. It would have been a harder fight, of course, no matter the circumstances. But yeah, I'm just pleased that we got to do it. And more importantly, we proved that Wintermark and Navarre can take the field at the same time. And not only do numbers work out, but we can actually work together and win for a given level of success. Which was delightful. But yeah, apart from that, I think then we basically just wandered around until the field marshal meeting in the evening. Oh, that was the other thing. Of course, we elect a field marshal every time. And with this fight and the nations that were offering, one of the people that stood forward was Brennos. who is obviously normally the head of field command for Navarre. He got elected in, which it didn't default to,
Not at all.
but I was. He turned to me and did say, "You do realize this means that you are leading Navarre?" And I, with the utmost of chill and no excitement at all, was like, "Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, sure, whatever. I don't
Yeah,
care.
right. And guess I'll do that." No, I was delighted. I was really, really excited. I hadn't actually done the maths on that one and figured that out in advance, but I was like, "Yeah, brilliant, very exciting." So yeah, then we went to Field Marshal. There was something in between that time, I'm sure. Can't remember what it would have been now. An hour of downtime of something. But anyway, something happened. We did some stuff and then we came back for the Field Marshal meeting, which if you are a combat character, you don't have to be in command, but it's obviously useful if you are in command. But if you are taking the battle the next day, then highly, highly encourage you to come to the Field Marshal meeting. It's when the plans are made for what to do. It's actually it's when the War Scout shows up to brief you on what the lay of the land will be. You get to ask questions. Well, you may not get to ask questions, but questions are asked. And you know all the objectives from then on and can feed it all back and all of that jazz.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good stuff. It's really, really useful to know as well. It helps the more people know, then the less you have to shout about the next morning before battle. And then we went back to Black Scar for midnight.
A very tired, very chaotic, dealing of blooding new members in.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, a bit of a let's all join together and
I think we'll do
roleplay
it
stuff.
all properly again come E1 and actually push the boat out a little bit for it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it felt a little,
It's hard to do the big one that we had. We had a really big one at E1 this year.
That was very cool. In a tent with hoods on, getting corralled around in the dark. That was awesome.
I will try, and I think it's hard to do that every event. So if we can maybe do one a year of those big ones.
Let's make it E1. The winter one makes sense.
Yeah,
because it gets dark earlier as well.
I mean, I'm just throwing ideas out here. We'll probably have to raise them to the rest of Black Scar, but I don't see why we can't have one blooding a year.
Yeah. Works for me. Survive a year, get blooded in.
Yeah, exactly.
Lindir's missed his chance because he wasn't there, and now he's got some, like you said earlier, got some not loyalty issues, but some loyalty questions that will need answering by next event, right?
Well, that's the thing, when your character dies, there's no requirement.
What? No.
When a character dies,
never dying. I'm never dying.
Not when your character dies. When the general you, when your character dies, there's no requirement for you to come straight back into the same group. Obviously, a lot of people do because groups are often OC friend groups, but like you've re-rolled into Black Scar several times. There's no requirement you have to do it again. You've got a lot of new friends around the field.
Yeah.
You've got choices.
Varushka, baby.
I was thinking more of the Thorny and Fanged type.
The Thornfang lot are pretty fun. Shout out to them. They're fucking great. But yeah, I think I'm going to be going for Varushka for my next character because I do want to go and kill monsters. But that's for another episode.
For your next character, but for this character.
For this character, questions indeed. Questions that
still got choices.
Yeah, I've got 6 months to think about it. But does that wrap up Friday? Blooding in. So. I just got back late after drinking, and that was basic. Oh, I got really drunk. I try not to drink too much at Anvil anymore because I value the RP more than my liver. Right, I think rightly so because I want to actually be able to RP rather than just RP being hungover really well. But I bought a bottle of honeyed rum, and it's just neat fucking rum with like honey diffused in it, and it has no burn.
Ooh.
It tastes sweet but not sickly sweet, and it was just lethal. And I just sat there all evening sipping it away, and then suddenly, against my best intentions, I finished a bottle, and I can't really walk straight anymore.
Oh no.
Yeah. And got got me pretty hungover for Saturday, but bit of breakfast inside me, I was good to go. But yeah, that wraps up my Friday.
I think that was all. I think I just went to bed after that point.
I
Oh,
think so.
no. In fact, I was sitting there. It wasn't massive, but I was intending to go to bed at that point. But we just ended up talking for a really long time. Like, there was a whole bunch of us. We just ended up chatting about things, which obviously took us to time out. I think Owen came over, Branos came over. We were just all talking about how things work, how things have worked in the past, which is always interesting. I really enjoy having chats with players who've been playing for a very long time, because on an icy note, they've experienced loads of really cool stuff, and they tend to, the ones that have lasted that long, have just, they're really good role players, most of them. Like, all of them that I've met have been amazing and can take a conversation somewhere you're just like, I feel so immersed in this conversation one-on-one. It's amazing. But also on an OC note, like, they just know their shit. Like, they know their shit. Anytime you're like, well, what about this thing? And someone can go, actually, we tried this, or for this reason it works, or this reason it doesn't work, or whatever. So listen to your elders, I suppose.
See,
And when I say elders, I mean long-term players rather than actually older people. And there's no guarantee that it's not an age thing. All right, before I get in trouble, I'm not calling you guys old.
I feel old sometimes. I mean, gosh, I had what was basically about 300 mils of spirit, which is 6 drinks, right? It's not that bad, but is it? Hang on, it's 4. Okay, it's more like 12 drinks. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, no, I retract my statement. I was suitably fucked for the amount I drank. But yeah,
totally legit. But yeah.
Gosh, and that was
And then
only the first 6 hours. Yeah, God
I know.
almighty.
It was
Right.
a busy Friday.
Taking the executive decision because we want to go off and play GTFO. We're gonna do the classic thing of trying to do this in one episode and then not, and then split it into 2 or 3, and then make sure that there's at least a 3-month gap between the first and second episode. How about that?
That sounds like a Shattersong thing to do.
Yeah,
it's a very Shattersong thing to do.
brilliant.
All right. Well, we'll catch you next time for Empire E4 Saturday edition.
Indeed. And with redacted on the menu as well.
Oh, and redacted.
So much
and don't forget redacted.
Oh yes.
Sorry, one more thing that got pulled in as a final send off. A non-redacted mission, a 5-person 11 o'clock skirmish. I got invited into around 8 p.m. thinking I was in charge of it incorrectly. I went around gathering people for it, and then found out at 10:30 it wasn't Friday, it was for Saturday. That's what I did my evening. That was it. I got
the story
bamboozled.
gets so much worse.
It does. Oh, it so does. Can't wait for next time. I need to whine, bitch, and moan about that in detail.
Fantastic.
Alrighty. Well, citizens, thank you for listening in for the 58 minutes and 14 seconds of pure BS, and I do mean Black Scar, that you've enjoyed. Yeah. And we'll try and get another one of these recorded soon. Take care.
See you, citizens.
Bye.
Bye.